Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with another Total War Warhammer video. Recently we've been discussing the possibility of a Wood Elf vs Skaven DLC, and that video was met with mixed reactions as there are a fair amount of people who believe that Skaven have received enough content for Warhammer 2. We did also discuss in that video that it may not be a Skaven vs Wood Elf DLC, as it's also very likely that it could be a Wood Elf vs Dark Elf DLC, so that would be today's topic. So without further ado, let's begin. While the Wood Elves are indeed isolationists, rarely leaving the forests of Athelloren, they have been known to engage with many of the other races of the Warhammer fantasy world, all of which could be a possible antagonist for them when in regards to a Total War Warhammer DLC. A very strong contender would be the Dark Elves. While they haven't had that many interactions with the Wood Elves for one reason or another, there has been one particular large event which has caused a lot of friction between the both races, where Ariel, the Queen of Athelloren and a character who is most likely going to be implemented during this round of DLC or FLC, hates the Dark Elves with every fibre of her being. I honestly don't believe that Ariel is the possible paid for Legendary Lord. Instead, I do believe that she will be the FLC Lord, which is tied to both the DLC and the Realm of the Wood Elves DLC. But that doesn't mean that Ariel's hatred for the Dark Elves can't be expressed through her followers. For that, let's look at some excerpts of lore from the 8th edition army book, which goes as follows. Just as the Wood Elves see the princes of Ulthuan as inflexible and staid, they perceive the Nagarothi as wild and impetuous children, lashing out at a world that has most bitterly wronged them. The Wood Elves see the Dark Elves, much like the High Elves, as a dwindling folk, strange city dwellers who are often trapped on warships for weeks at a time. Unlike the Wood Elves, who are constantly honing their skills in an environment that constantly challenges them every day of their lives. The Wood Elves are very much aware of the dealings of the Dark Elves, but very rarely do come to blows, most likely as Athelloren is heavily defended and would not be an easy target for the Dark Elves. So with all that said, why would there be a possible DLC between Wood Elves and Dark Elves? Well, as explained before, Ariel, the Queen of Athelloren, has a deep-seated hatred for the Dark Elves, and for good reason. This in turn has also made the Wood Elves hate the Dark Elves. You see, Ariel had a sister, known as Alissara. She was Malekith's lover, who fled to Athelloren in search of safety before the rebellion in Ulthuan by the Nagarothi could kick off officially. In time, she came to learn much of Malekith's deeds, and came to feel guilt for the path her husband had taken. So it was that Alissara pleaded with Ariel for leave to depart Athelloren and return to Malekith's side, in order that she might soothe the rage in his soul. This took a fair amount of time, many arguments were had, but soon enough arrangements were made, and Alissara travelled west with an escort befitting her rank. Malekith was indeed overjoyed about this. Sure, this might not have changed the outcome of the wars to come, but at least his beloved would be by his side. So he took every precaution to keep Alissara's imminent return hidden from all in Nagaroth. Malekith, however, did not take his mother into account. You see, Morathi did not want for Alissara to return to Malekith's side, as Alissara could potentially harm Morathi's influence over her own son. But she knew she could not act directly. Instead, she disguised herself and charmed Valador, a disgraced prince of Valerian, and led him to believe that Alissara's escort was in fact an army of elven corsairs who had pledged aid to Nagaroth. Valador, who wished to regain his high station, gathered what forces he could and intercepted Alissara and her escort on the shores of Bretonnia. Most of the Wood Elves were slaughtered, and Alissara perished that day. The remaining Wood Elves fled back to Athelloren and brought news to Ariel. Winter came early to Athelloren that year. As the frost hung ever higher on the bow, Ariel's grief became bitterness, and bitterness became wrath. This led to the beginning of a series of events known as the Season of Retribution, where Ariel and Orion led an assault on the Tower of Grond in Nagaroth. This was not a long and bloody war, seeing as by this point Malekith himself was aware that his wife had led to the death of his beloved. So no aid came to Grond. However, Morathi, being as smart as she is, managed to broker a deal with Ariel and seek an end to the violence, at least for the time being. An event such as this could be a great way to introduce a Dark Elf vs Wood Elf DLC. While characters such as Morathi are already implemented in game, Total War Warhammer's lore, as we are aware, is different to that of Warhammer Fantasy Battle, could easily change the lore around to make it so some other Dark Elf character was the reason behind Alissara's death. Pretty much every major single Dark Elf in lore is known for these types of things, so it wouldn't really be that hard to believe. And now in reference to the Wood Elves, well, it really depends on who the DLC character is. As I had stated before, I really doubt that Ariel herself will be the main focus of the DLC, as it does make sense for such a massively important character in Wood Elf lore to be tied between both DLCs. The next choice would obviously be Orion, but like Morathi, he's also already available in-game. Instead, Ariel could send any of the possible Wood Elf characters to lead the charge in her stead. Obviously, a character such as Araloth comes to mind, as he is her personal champion, so it would make sense for a character such as Araloth to receive this personal mission from Ariel herself. Obviously, there are other possible characters such as Nath the Prophetess, but this video itself was more to discuss the possible setting. And we will have a video going over the possible units, legendary lords, mechanics and so on in due course, but I do believe an event such as this would make the perfect gateway for a Dark Elf vs Wood Elf DLC. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and let's start a bit of a discussion. Obviously, we're still not fully aware who the antagonist of the DLC actually is, but speculation like this is always fun. But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various different social media links such as Facebook, Instagram and Discord, where you can get in contact with the Great Book team. Also in the description section below is an affiliate link with Element Games where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Using our special link and also the special code, which is also in the description below, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A special thank you to Ryan Bertsche and Gibraltar LUSC for subscribing to us at our fame level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule and VSVasan for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you guys enough. The money earned from Patreon is going directly back into the channel, slowly upgrading little bits and bobs, just trying to get to a higher level of content for you guys. And a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing and commenting on these videos. The support has been insane lately and honestly, we can't be more than excited. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.